Listen, Raider Nation, this is where the conversation stops being about a single roster move or a single embarrassing loss and starts becoming about the soul of this franchise. When you step back and really absorb everything that's happening, the cuts, the draft talk, the coaching pressure, the weekly humiliations, it stops feeling random. It starts feeling like a franchise standing at a crossroads it's been circling for years. The Leky Fuwa situation wasn't just about snaps or sacks or rotation depth. It was symbolic. It was the organization quietly admitting that this season is no longer about competing, but about evaluation, and that's a brutal realization when fans were sold hope not that long ago. Cutting a hometown player in the middle of a lost year sends a message whether the front office intends it or not. It tells the locker room that sentiment is gone, that survival mode has officially begun, and that everyone is auditioning whether they like it or not. And that survival energy seeps into everything. You see it in the way the defense plays exhausted by the second quarter because the offense can't stay on the field. You see it in how Max Crosby is fighting through double-team snap after snap with no Real help coming. You see it in Malcolm Kuntz being used wherever the team can squeeze value because they're desperate for impact anywhere on the field. This isn't strategic flexibility, it's scrambling. It's a coaching staff searching for answers in places that shouldn't need searching. And when a team reaches that point, it usually means the foundation is cracked somewhere deeper than fans want to admit. The draft conversation only amplifies that anxiety. On paper, the idea of pairing another premium edge rusher with Crosby makes sense. Pressure wins games in this league. It always has. But logic doesn't exist in isolation. Logic has to live inside the reality of what this team actually looks like on Sundays. And the reality is ugly. The offensive line isn't just below average. It's overmatched. The quarterback situation is unstable. The offense doesn't scare anyone. So when analysts talk about spending high draft capital on defense again, it triggers a familiar fear. The fear of imbalance. The fear that the Raiders will build a defense that's good enough to keep games close while the offense continues to waste it away. Fans have seen this movie before, and the ending is always the same. Competitive losses, moral victories, and another year burned without real progress. But then the Eagles game happens, and it forces honesty. Because that wasn't a close loss. That wasn't bad luck. That was a talent gap on full display. Philadelphia imposed its will in every phase. They ran the ball without resistance. They threw the ball without urgency. They dictated the tempo, the physicality, and the confidence of the entire game. And when a coach like Pete Carroll openly acknowledges that gap, it confirms what fans already feel in their gut. This isn't just a bad stretch. This is a roster that doesn't measure up in too many areas at once. That's why the pressure on Carroll feels different now. It's not loud yet, but it's heavy. It's in the silence after losses. It's in the repetitive post-game explanations. It's in the admission that games keep following the same pattern. Because once a pattern is established, breaking it requires more than effort. It requires change. And change is uncomfortable. 8 straight losses do more than hurt standings. They wear down belief. They challenge authority. They make players question systems and fans question leadership. Carroll can talk about internal standards and personal accountability all he wants, but the league is unforgiving. Results matter. Direction matters. And right now, the direction feels blurry at best. The most alarming part of this collapse isn't even the defense getting run over or the pass rush disappearing. It's the offense becoming historically ineffective. 75 total yards. 0 points. A second shutout in the same season for the first time in nearly 2 decades. That's not just bad. That's organizational failure flashing red. Offenses don't reach that level of dysfunction by accident. It's the result of broken protection, broken confidence, and broken continuity. And once confidence is gone, execution follows it out the door. You see it in missed blocks, rushed throws, abandoned run games, and third downs that feel impossible before the snap even happens. At that point, losing stops being the biggest danger. The real danger becomes apathy. Players protecting themselves. Coaches coaching not to get embarrassed instead of coaching to win. Fans tuning out emotionally before the season even ends. And when that happens, rebuilding becomes harder because you're not just fixing talent, you're repairing trust. Trust between players and staff. Trust between the organization and its supporters. Trust that there is actually a plan and not just a reaction to the latest disaster. So now the question facing the Raiders isn't about how many games they can win down the stretch. It's about what identity they choose to carry forward. Do they commit fully to rebuilding through defense and pressure, accepting short-term offensive pain in exchange for long-term stability? Or do they finally prioritize fixing the offense, knowing it leaves Crosby and the defense exposed in the meantime? There is no clean answer. Every path has risk. But what can't continue is drifting, making moves that feel disconnected, sending mixed signals to players and fans alike. Because when you zoom out, this season feels like a referendum. On roster construction, on coaching philosophy, on organizational patience. It's a test of whether this franchise is truly willing to tear things down to the studs, or if it's going to keep patching cracks and hoping they stop spreading. And that's why emotions are running so high right now. Fans aren't angry just because the team is losing. They're angry because they don't know what the losing is building toward. And that's where Raider Nation stands today. Watching former players find success elsewhere. Watching draft debates expose structural flaws. Watching a proud franchise struggle to score points while the rest of the league moves faster, smarter, and stronger. This isn't just about this year. It's about whether the Raiders finally choose a direction and commit to it, or whether this season becomes another chapter in a long story of what could have been. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think this team needs to build around the defense and double down on pass rush in the draft? Or is it time to finally prioritize the offense no matter the cost? Do you believe Pete Carroll deserves more time to see this through, or has the pattern become too clear to ignore? Drop your thoughts in the comments, let this conversation live, and if you want honest, unfiltered Raiders breakdowns like this every week, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay locked in. Because one way or another, this franchise is heading toward a defining moment, and you don't want to miss what happens next.